This year, I turned 40. Uh, that's a big age. And I wanted to gift myself something this year that for the past 4 to 5 years, 5 years, um, my world has been turned around upside down. And I want to address it. I want to apologize to my family, my friends, to why I have been distant. I've been gone. I've been away because, I've been deeply and greatly depressed. The things that has happened over the past few years. Um, I just want to just get this out. I don't know how much I'm going to say. Some people know how I feel and what I've been going through. And I just want to be forward with everyone, you know. Um, so, for some of the friends that don't know and some of the family that don't know, um, I'm going to have to take this back pretty far. I'm going to be quick with the story just so you can be caught up on the different things that has happened. Racism has affected me in ways that I never thought that it would. Now, at the big age of 40, of course, I know as a black man, I'm going to reach it. I'm going to hit it. And growing up, I have, uh, experienced it all throughout childhood, um, teenage years, young adulthood. But today, all I want to talk about is like professionally, you know, and we're just not going to just talk about words. We're going to talk about real, true um, racism. This isn't an easy conversation because, we all have friends of different backgrounds, different races, colors, sizes. But this is my experience. This is my story. This is something that has affected me and my family greatly. Let's go back to a time when I was happy. I haven't been, too happy recently, but back when I discovered poker, 2008, that's when I got into poker. I used to go to different bars and participate in the different games. Free game. You go in, you could win some money, $100, $200, stuff like that. And it was fun. I would go with my pops, my brother, my mom would come sometime. We would just go and have fun. And then as it goes in the poker world, you start going to different house games. So now I go to this one house game, and it is awesome. The guy who runs it, he's legendary. Mad cool dude. He ran the game perfect, amazing. And I peeped game at like what was going on. Poker was like out of my head at that time. I'm looking at, damn, you can make money doing this, you can host. And I'm like, damn, I like talking to people, I mess with people, Let me really lock in, So I used to go to his games a lot, ask the deal sometimes when I busted out, because you all busted everything. I was a young boy, So so I'm learning the game and everything, and now poker is like everything in my life. Now I'm going to all these different bars all over town. I'm going to all these different house games. I'm going to AC. Me and my pops going down to AC, taking it takes like 40 something minutes to get to AC. Go down there, lose our money. An hour later, gotta drive back another 45 minutes. So like that's the kind of lifestyle that it was for a while. And then I was able to and then when I moved out, uh I started having my own games. Now, I don't know what year Parks opened, but I think I had my game open before Parks got there. And before Parks got there, you know, I was having my games, and my game was, it was running for a couple years. It was big. People would come in all the time, and I would have a list, and I would host and everything, and I would deal, and I had friends. Matt B, Anthony, Ling, and everything would come by and all, and it was a bunch of Parks people too. Eric Blum, my God, there was so many other people that would come over and come over in my game and play in my game. And then, they wanted to learn how to deal too. So I did that for a few years. And I moved the game to different locations sometime, but it was always good, because people would follow me, because I ran a good game. I would cook a lot. I would cook a whole lot because I love to cook. I like to have fun, and and they love the food was good. I make good food. And sometimes we would order out. Get like 5, 10 pizzas, you like 10 pizzas, some cheesesteaks, or you do like Chinese or something. And if the game ran too late or early in the morning, then I would, just go get breakfast. I don't think I ever cooked breakfast because it was like never that much food because, you got, 12, 13 grown men, just, maybe if Sam's Club was open, I would probably go, but nah, I would usually just order some McDonald's or something like that. I don't know. So I did that for a while, and then naturally when Parks came around, the game started slowing down, and I wanted to, now I had to start thinking about my future, and to move away from having the house game to having more of a structure for my life. It's time to start getting my life together. So now I tried getting into Parks one time, and I failed the audition. I was dating this girl, Brittany Marini, actually, and her and I were dating for a while. And the only reason why I have to mention her is because there's another part of the conversation and everything as well. I'm just not going to throw out names for no reason. Um, I want to set the record straight. I don't want my story to continue to be untold. I don't want my story to just fall off of the lips of the people who started this whirlwind. So moving on. So now Brittany and I, we're dating for a few years. We break up. At this time, she's working at Parks. And Parks people start coming to my game. Mikey Ta start coming to my game. Lynch starts coming to my game, and a bunch of other people start coming to the game and everything. So during this time, they start coming to the game, and now I tried, I applied, to the job again, to Parks again, and I didn't get it. But during this time, I've been dealing cards for about maybe like 5 years. And I was also traveling, dealing for a fundraiser, so I was dealing outside of my game. So how long did my game go? I ran 2 games a week. I think it was Tuesdays and Thursdays or something, or Fridays. I think it was like Tuesdays and Fridays, and started at 7. And it was a fun game. I would send everybody a text. I would get everyone's information, what kind of snacks they would want, what kind of drinks they would want. I made a real dope game. He and I broke up. And when we broke up, it was a clean split. It was like no weird stalking. I wasn't stalking her. I don't know if she was stalking me. I guess you wouldn't know. I guess it was a good stalker, but we weren't stalking each other. It was done. The breakup was done. Shortly after her and I broke up, my brothers and I were out, and we went to the American pub that was across the street from the casino. And we seen him. And I'm like, cool, like whatever, So my brothers look at me and they're like, yo, like let's fuck him up. They're like, yo, like let's fuck him up. They said it. And they were ready to jump on him. And I'm like, nah, like we're broken up. Like why? Like there's no point, So we just let that go. We didn't dap up or nothing, but we just went on our way. They went on our way, on their way, and that was that. All right. And then years go by, and throughout those years, I start traveling the country, dealing poker. I no longer ran my game. I want to say from 2013, from 2013 to 2016, I traveled the country. I dealt in Mississippi. I dealt in, no, not Mississippi. I'm sorry, Missouri. Of course, like Atlantic City. The World Series of Poker for a couple years. All over. And one year, I was dealing in the World Series of Poker. It was so much fun. And someone approached me, Heather, I'll say her first name, and her husband. And they were really nice people. And they said to me that I should try out for a casino that's being built in Oxon Hill, Maryland. So of course I'm happy. I'm all giddy. I'm like, absolutely. Thank you for the information. I'm guessing they were probably just telling everybody, hey, go apply for this casino, because they're looking for dealers. And usually, a lot of times, the reason why people deal the series is because they don't have a home casino, or they work part-time and their home casino allows them to come out and deal the series. There's probably a couple other ones that I'm not, thinking about, but generally, those are the reasons why. And I'm looking for a home casino, and for so many years, I was trying to get into parks and I couldn't. So, I had to travel, you know, so I can, make that money. And for people who, is probably wondering why is it that, I'm just worrying about the casino or poker, is because it's lucrative. It's a lot of money. You can make a lot of money. It's a six-figure career if allowed to make money and in the right market. Is where my family is, you know, um, in that area in Ben Salem, you know. So I want to be, I was trying to be, of course, next to my family rather than being away from my family and having to travel so much away from my family. I for the job, and one day I get a phone call from Matt. Matt's like, "Yo, I'm trying out for, I was thinking about applying for this new casino." And I'm like, "Okay, what casino is this?" And he says, "Well, MGM." I said, "Oh, cool. I already applied for it. You should do it." He said, "Cool." He said, "Did you get your information back?" So later on in the year and everything, when we got our information back for when we have our audition, we lined it up so we can go together. And that's what we did. So Matt B and I, we drove down to Maryland, together, and we auditioned. Now, I seen some familiar faces on the road because I've been traveling the country. I seen a lot of familiar faces that day, but two in particular that I seen was Claude, Purchase, and Tina. Don't know her last name, but I seen them, and we seen each other and everything, and we spoke for a while. So how do I know them? I met them in Vegas at the series. I was pushing Tina, and during that time, like Bob's Burger was like really hot, and I was like, "Hey, like Tina, like Bob," and they were like, "Oh yeah, Bob Burger, 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 burger." And then that's how we befriended one another. She was like, "Hey, I got a boyfriend, Claude." I'm like, "Cool," I was like, for that, I was happy to be where I was, dealing the World Series, having fun, partying, like it's like the time of my life, I'm in like the prime of my life, like girls are there, but like girls aren't like just not the center of focus, they're already gonna be there, so it's like it was not like that, but I met them and everything, and like they were cool, and like we hung out a little bit. So uh so going back to the audition, we auditioned. We uh were we told that we passed? I think we were told right then and there that we passed, and they gave us our offers and everything. And then they were going to send us the offer letter in the mail. So the reason why Matt didn't get it is because Matt was already working at Parks. He was already working there for the past like like 4 or 5 years at that point in time, and they were offering, part time for him. And he said no, they were offering full time. I'm like, "Bro, like, don't worry about it. You're going to get it." He was like, "No, because, he had options, and he already had a job, So, so he didn't take it. And of course, I took it, because, I really wanted to finally get into my, career of choice, one that's lucrative. It's fun. It's exciting. I get to talk to people. I get to see people all the time. I love being around people, and of course, I take it. And the person that auditioned me was Mike Brawley. I passed the audition. Brawley does like this joke, and we all laugh, because it was a genuinely funny joke. And like he was like, he was dapping me up and everything and being cool. So I was like, cool, you know. Now, follow down later on, they tell us that we have to arrive to Oxon Hill on a certain day so we can start the process of orientation and everything. So now we go through that process, and when I move, at that time I was living in Bordentown. When I moved from there to out in DC, I didn't have anything. I had bags. I just had bags. I didn't even have anywhere to live. I was living in a hostel. I lived in a hostel. I arrived there, I think it was like November 7th or November 14th or something like that. And I took the train down. I didn't have a car. I took the train down with just like all my bags and shit. And like, they was like, yo, arrive on this day and like, you're going to start working. And I'm like, yo, if I don't do anything in this world, I'm fucking, because my life is about to start, And I get my stuff together, and I I head down, before I go in for like intake and everything. I'm asking the security guard, hey, do you know anyone renting a room? Do you know anyone, that got like an apartment or anything? And I was asking everyone actually, because this was like really important. I knew that I was, at one time or another, I was being blackballed out of parks because Brittany and I broke up like years ago, and I never went looking after her. And I submitted applications like 2 times a year up until 2016 when I got the job at MGM. And I have every right to believe that Mikey Ta has blackballed me out of Parks Casino. I have had an extensive resume when it comes to poker, and even supervising prior to MGM. And I'm not even talking about my house game. I'm talking about in other casinos, and it's not like I'm not trained. I'm the equivalent to being classically trained when it comes to poker. How I was taught, the time I was taught, and the different levels in which I took it. So there's no reason why, my skill is ever in question on a resume. And then when you actually see me in the audition, it matches up more. And then when you see me on a floor actually dealing at a table, and then you're going to see, why I'm such a great poker dealer. So when it comes to me saying a statement of Mikey Ta blackballing me out of parks, well, that is why. Now you have to be careful with the timelines leading up, because of course someone's going to say, oh, you're putting out videos like this and rah 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 rah, that's why you, well, no, because although you like as a black man and everything, once you begin speaking about race and how people do racist shit, then sometimes a lot of time they want to put you in a box of just being an angry black man. And it's like, no, like that's my experience of what I seen, what has happened to me, and I have observed it happening to other people too, and on many different levels. So it's not just a straight and narrow road. This is a free. I am living in the different hostels, and we're going to orientation every day. And while we're at orientation, at the actual casino, and we're setting everything up and we're learning how they want to do things, I'm noticing that some supervisors, they didn't know what they were doing, and some dealers, they didn't know what they were doing. So, I stepped up to help them out, because, I know what I'm doing, in the setting and everything. And I did that all throughout orientation. And during that time too, you start talking to people that and I seen John Lynch. John Lynch was there. He started, and a bunch of other, parks people. Carmen Bono. He started working over there, and my thinking at the time was, how is it would my past relationship with her also affect this job? Because now there's parks people coming from over there. But the thing about that is, I always had a positive experience and a positive time with people from parks outside of my game. So if I met them when I would go to their game, everything was always cool. If I seen them in like AC or something, it was cool. So now my thing is like, yo, like, why is it that now, like, there's like a problem? Or why would there be a problem? So I just kept everything cool, because it was like, hey, hey, what's up? Like we got the same job and everything. And, I still spoke to him and everything, because there was no reason why we should have a negative relationship over something years ago that had nothing to do with them too, So that was always in the back of my head, on top of me having a negative interaction with Carmen when we first opened. And that was the last time I took an active conversation with them. And then the other times when we hung out, it was just like in like a group setting. But it wasn't always like, yo, fuck that guy. It was just well, I had that previous thing in the back of my head. We had a negative interaction based off something that he said. And now you know, I don't want to be labeled an angry black dude. So I just took that, and then I just had to let that just be, because I knew even getting this job with my past professional experiences, how the white man act around the black man working, like even in the same workplace, you know. So so I knew that I had to be careful on those lines, even before I even got there. You know, I'm just catching you up on my thought process, you know, at that time and why, you know. So, you know, because if you, you know, if even if you know me a little bit, you know, I like to have fun. You know, I like to fucking go balls to the wall. You know, if there's 3 waterfalls, a 20-foot, a 50-foot, and a 75-foot, my friends do not have to ask which one I'm jumping off. They know I'm going to the top. They know I'm going to the top. They not even asking me where I'm going. They know I'm jumping off that top joint, you know? So it's like, you know, I love, you know, like, I'm very eccentric. You know, I love doing many different things, you know? And in the wrong place, you know, that is, you know, alarming. So, you know, anyway, moving on. So, so, I'm talking to Tina and Claude at orientation, and they asked me if I found a place yet, because they found a place and they had a place, and I said no. You know, I'm staying in the hostel and everything, and they were like, "Oh, what is that?" And I'm like, "So a hostel is a uh like a boarding room or boarding house where it's not a hotel and it's not a motel. Sometimes, usually, you have to share a room with other people. There's a bunk bed in there, and you have to share a room with like 5 people. You know, there's usually a co-ed dorm. I'm sorry. Sometimes there's a co-ed dorm, but usually there's a male dorm and a female dorm. Now, the best hostel I've ever been to was in Vegas. It's called Hostel Cat. If you are under the age of 30, do not go to a hotel. Go to Hostel Cat. The thing about hostels too is you can't have an ID of the state that you are using a hostel in. So if you're in Vegas, they will not accept a Vegas ID at the hostel. You know, it got to be out of state. Same thing with like DC. When I was in DC, the reason why I could stay in a hostel in DC is because I had a Philly ID. So they were like, yeah, they asked me where I was staying. I told them, and they said, hey, you know, come stay with me. Claude Purchase and Tina asked me to stay with them. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, of course, cool. What the fuck? You know, I'm in fucking hostel with people I don't even freaking know, you know? So like, of course, let me go with some people that I kind of know. So I stayed with them for a while, and during this time, I go back home, get more bags, get more things, and I put them away. I put them downstairs in their laundry room. I go into work, come back, half my stuff is gone. I lost my laptop, half my important papers. I lost so much stuff. They didn't take my PS4. I was so happy. They didn't take my PS4. I was like low key like crazy. So I lose half my belongings. Um, we go back to work, and I stayed with them for maybe about a month, and then I got my own place. So right now, this is 2017. This is 2017. Um, First round of promotions come out, and uh, Austin asked me you know, to be a supervisor, a dual rate, and I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I definitely want to be a dual rate. I got to wear a suit. I got a promotion tag and everything, and I get to do some other stuff, and I get to learn more about like the business. So I was excited. Because like my life is really starting to change and blossom. I get to do different things for my two boys, my family, my nuclear family. Um, when you start having that opportunity to do more, hopefully that's what you do. And during my time uh, at at MGM, I would always have my kids come up. I would always have my little cousins come up. My cousins. Not just like my big cousins and everything my age, but also my little cousins, so I can show them um, uh, there's more out there. There's other things that you can do. And I would always have them over, all the time. And I always have my boys up all the time. And I would bring them up to the casino. And I wanted to show the other supervisors at work that I am a human, that I am a man that has responsibilities, and I have people that look towards me for certain things. And that wasn't the main reason, but I wanted to show them, I also wanted to show my family too. Look, I have family, I have responsibilities, because people look at me and they think that I'm just like some kid, and I'm not deserving of the experience that I have put into my profession. Because a lot of these guys, they get in because of their friend. They might know a little bit about poker, like they might play some poker or something, but they don't really like know about poker. They don't know the rules. About they don't even know the intricacies of how to speak to someone at the table. And there's people who get jobs just like in other parts of corporate America. People are getting these jobs without having experience in the field. You know, they never dealt a card in their life, and they have these high rankings. They have these high jobs. What I wanted to show them was that I that that I am, I'm the one. I can do it. Now, the promotion, was a hit to what I was making. But that wasn't the play, because I had an idea of why I wanted to take that position. Now, you would make more money just dealing poker, dealing 5 days a week, you know, all throughout the year. You'll make way more money in dealing poker. But I wanted to cement myself more in the company, move up in the company, because one day I did want to be a poker director, because I would be a really good poker director, a room supervisor, because, I love people. People usually love me if they're not racist pieces of shit. And I get so much love from everybody, that aren't racist pieces of shit, you know. So me taking the dual rate position, I was okay with. It was about the first year. It was about a $15,000 to $10,000 hit, because we opened in November. The first round of promotions went out in like March or April or something, and kicked in like July or something. But then the following year, through a lot of people being fired, through a lot of different things happening, we had a shortage of supervisors. So now I was supervising like full time for like 6 months, 6 to 9 months, and that was crazy. But it was okay, because it was a part of the process, and I absolutely loved it. Anyway, I was still able to make money. That moment was the happiest time in my life. And because of that, I knew it was important with the different things that I did, and how I carried myself. So if you know me, you know that I always carry myself upward. I carry myself with respect. I keep my Philly pride no matter where I go. People always know I'm from Philly. And there's no fakery out of me. Now, this video is going to bring a lot of different things coming in the mix. But I never went against the grain in my family. I never went against the grain in black people. So following the promotion and everything, I was working a job, I was having fun and everything, and we were good. And during this time, we were living in a really delicate climate because of Trump. And I knew it was going to be hard being a black man in a Trump presidency. So, leading up to this job, I went through situations that helped me learn about the people and the mindset that is in these positions, and usually the position of power. Lisa, She was with John Lynch at one point in time. She would like always make a joke about like me being late. And then like one day I had to stop her. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Can you please stop making that joke because I'm not even late. Like I'm rarely ever late, and I don't want that joke, that stigmatized joke, to be something that people are going to be like thinking about. Like I didn't want that. There's plenty of other jokes that you can make, and I will accept because it's a joke, but not that joke, especially that joke all the time. All the time. Uh, she don't make it with anyone else. There were people that was always late. you know, when we had like 14 points, and within that point system, you would be like 1 point if like you like call out late or something like that, or a half a point if you're late, and like so they gave you a lot of points, and then I think like halfway through the year, you can get more points, you can get some points added on, and if you go a year without losing a point, you get that point back on that date, and like just like stuff like that. So like I was like never like in like any type of point worry, or let alone even late, because I didn't want any type of the negative black stigmas to be, you know, a part of me, or it's just those type of eyes from those people. You already know what they're going to say. So you just really don't want to exude any of that. You want to make sure that you're just total opposite of that, because they're already looking at you as a black man as inferior and weak. So that's why you got to step it up. That's why I wanted to be as knowledgeable as possible. I read through the handbook. I even found a grammatical error, and I told them about it. I pay attention all throughout my life, ever since I start really understanding what race was. Then it was like, you know, it just really opened my eyes to what is out there and who is out there. So when I started the job, I wanted to make sure I was always, present, physically, mentally. And whenever we would get different exams as a supervisor and everything, I made sure I handed them in, as soon as possible. I made sure, my answers were on point. Fast forward to the pandemic. Now, when the pandemic dropped, there were a lot happening. And, we all had to step back, and we all had to, be where we were. And during that time, a lot was happening in the news in DC with race relations, with racism. People attacking the protesters, and just so much stuff going on. So me and a friend at that time, James, we went out to the protest. We protested and everything peacefully. No fights. I even stopped a really, really dangerous situation. So, like, I'm no bitch. So when I'm out there protesting, like, I'm not in the back, I'm in the front. And, at that time, shit was going crazy. Shit was going real crazy, But, I'm there for it. So I'm in the front. And now in front of me was the gate. I think we were in front, we were on a White House lawn. It was this gate. And right behind that gate were lines of cops in like riot shield gear and shit, right? And then you got the horses. There were four rows of people all the way down. Boom, 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 boom. You know, officers. And then they had the horses behind them and shit. And, you know, shit start wilding out, you know? They start pepper spraying. They start shooting us with pepper spray. And then, you know, the young bulls start getting riled up. They start throwing shit. And then all of a sudden, you remember on Boondocks? When they were at the Source Awards and somebody threw a chair? Bro, someone threw this fucking rock. This rock was a little bit bigger to get him. Like, it's a real good hold. You know, it was a big fucking rock. That bitch, it rolled right in front of me. Right to the side of me. Then you got these young boys and everything next to me. They going crazy and everything. They got their shirts off. They got their mask on. They going crazy. And then you got the cops. You know, it's just the gate, the metal gate, and the cops. One row of cops, you know, right there. Then you got all the rows. I see the rock. I look at the cop. The cop look at me. I look at the young bulls that's doing like their little circle of death over there. I pick up the rock. Get the rock. I throw it. I underhand toss that motherfucker behind the cop that was looking at me. Self-preservation at that moment was telling my black ass, if these young motherfuckers get this rock, you in the front line. This is not the fight. I was dead, but this is not the fight, you know? That wasn't the fight. And the reason why you know that wasn't the fight was because, you know, shortly after we dispersed, you know, rather peacefully. But you know, we were out there for a while. We weren't in that round of like that was rowdiness. Okay, so like we got into some rowdiness, but it wasn't like anything crazy. But I was there, and I put my experience and everything on like Facebook and everything, and like Instagram and shit. And you know, me and James did that, and that was you know, that was for a purpose and a reason. And white people feel as though I can't say all, I have to say some. Some white people feel as though the Black Lives Matter movement is a joke. And during the time of me going to the different protests, because it just wasn't one protest. It was, I went to quite a few of them. There were a lot. I maybe went to maybe like 7, 8 of them. But during that time, someone, Jack, made a comment and on Facebook, and it was that all lives matter bullshit. And I said something, because it should have been taken down. It shouldn't have um, been up there for the length and time that it was in there. You know, People don't look at us as equals. They don't look at us as humans. And I just want to just get this out just so I can move on with my life. Although I would want to, of course, do the job in which I love to do, it's that I am being blackballed from it from different poker directors in different places. I worked at I have two crazy stories about the casino, the live casino in Oriental, Maryland, and Rivers Casino. I have never been a part of such an egregious misuse of power, especially after being told in my face that I am being blackballed out of the casinos by Mike. I think, was it Brown? He used to be the old poker director at Live Casino, Oriental, Maryland. I gotta check my text messages because as soon as it happened, I told somebody else about it, like immediately. And he was a part of the union, and I don't know if he told. He could have told the HR lady, but yo, that's a crazy story. So I'm gonna do two. I gotta tell those stories because those stories in itself are just, they put me through tears. But anyway, so 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 during this time and climate, now throughout the years, you build up different relationships, and you develop friendships. We had Friendsgiving. We would go on trips together. Me and some people, we went wall climbing. The one day we would go tubing. I would have people over my place for game night. We would go to other people's houses for game night and everything. Um, you know, I inserted myself into, like, I wanted to start living. You know, I spent so much of my life in survival mode that it seems that when I was living, it was offending people. And I kept to myself. Like, there was never no drama at work with me, with other people, but not with me. I never had any type of problems with people at the HR. I never got into any fights. I never had any negative marks or derogatory marks on my like on my work performance or with customers or anything. I was the perfect employee, but I was just the wrong color. So Oxon Hill is predominantly a black area. And you know, when we first open and everything, you know, they see, you know, a young black man in this new casino, and they're happy because we're just not cleaning the casino. So when MGM opened up, they had to have a certain amount of people be hired from the area, you know, or else, you know, like they couldn't go through with it. So when they brought in all these out of town people, they brought in all these out of town people that don't know how to manage black people, or they don't want to. When I was working at MGM, the things that I was doing were positive things. Whenever I went into work, um, you know, I always kept it professional. I would speak on different topics all the time with many different people if they wanted to, you know. Um, People would take me out to lunch, to dinner, to discuss um, different ventures. I have made um, a lot of people money in the stock market and crypto. I I have never there were times at work where I was disrespected on a personal level. There were times when supervisors would do some racist shit, such as Art Blanda one day. He told me he kept harassing me about my hair. He kept writing me up about my hair, telling me that my hair is too messy. One day, he said I should get Art Blanda told me I should get a regular black guy haircut. Wrote me up, sent me home. When Jordan was working there, I asked Jordan to give me a new card because I didn't have my swiping card, my swiping badge. And Jordan, he makes a Claude Purchase badge. And at that time, Claude, he stopped dealing. He went full-time supervisor. It was like, damn. So you work with Claude all day, every day, and like he's a supervisor, and it was like, is he in on this joke? I'm sure he's not in on that joke. When we first opened, Mike Boyson, he got into it with Casanova from Griselda, Casanova, and he got Cass kicked out. And then Cass called him a fucking racist for whatever reason. Now, I don't know the reason, but I'm sure that reason was warranted. Because Mike Boyson is a racist. He's a fucking racist. Now, during the pandemic, me, Naya, and James, you see, I gotta tell these small stories because, everybody isn't going to understand or get it, but some people will. Everyone's not going to get everything, in the pieces. But when you hear the whole thing, then you're going to understand in the whole thing. So me, Naya, and James, we're in a text thread. James and Naya, they're coming over all the time because we're talking about stocks and we're doing moves and everything, and we making money and everything, together. Now, during that time, Sean and Mike Boyson, they were like roommates or some shit. And it comes to be that, you see, when I understood the opportunity that was at my feet at MGM, my main thing was I wanted to get a black collective of people together and pool our resources and make different moves and on like different projects, so then we can, grow together. I believe that if, black people do come together and pull our resources together, we can do some really cool things together. And that's what I wanted to do. And that is why, I got Naya and James together. So then, maybe we can start doing some things together, and we can learn together. And, I really wanted to keep it, kind of, between, between us and everything. So James was telling Sean and Mike the different things that I was doing, the different moves I was making, and what I was showing them and everything, and getting the money. Now, Mike already come from money, and Mike got money. But what I've learned is a lot of times people think because you want what's on their plate. And it's like, no, I don't want what's on your plate. Like, I'm not a jealous dude. But other people look at what I was doing and they felt as though I didn't deserve it. But it was like, I worked for it. How do I not deserve this, So I also said the same thing years prior to Claude. So, I was hitting up pretty much, everyone black. Like, yo, like, let's do some cool black shit, like, let's do some stuff together, And some people aren't about that. Some people aren't about that. And so I got fired by sending a text message to Claude. That's how I got fired. You're going to see the text message, so don't worry about not seeing the text. You're going to see the text message. And how Art Blanda and Mike Boyson handled it, they didn't use in-house HR. My whole thing about this video is we don't have any representation. We don't have anyone to step in and say, hey, what's going on? We don't have anyone to say, hey, this is what's going on. The union wasn't formed at that point in time. And then on top of that, I tried calling Johnny Grooms. Johnny Grooms, he just ignored it. He said it was nothing you can do. I'm like, you're the boss. You're the poker director. How is this right, what they're doing? There was no... This is over a fucking text message. You're going to see the message. So after I get fired, I'm like, okay, we gotta keep this thing moving. So now let me take the stuff I've been doing in the financial world and let me bring it out so I can start selling that. I can start packaging that, because I've already made people, I don't want to say hundreds of thousands, but close to, because I made Matt Billingerry, I made him about $60,000. He lost me $35,000. Matt B lost. But made me lose $35,000. I lost $35,000 because of him, just with that particular thing, not with every, because more stuff is coming out with him. So I put it on Facebook, like, yo, this is what I'm doing. You know, now some people already know that I'm about that life. Some people already know, yo, like, this dude knows what he's talking about when it comes to stocks and crypto and stuff like that. You know, I've been talking about it for years. I've been doing it for years. Now, I make a post on Facebook, hey, you know, if you anyone looking for help and everything, I can teach you, I can help you. Would you believe that James went on my post went to that person and took that like client away from me? So we're friends. We're supposed to be friends. I just got fired. You know I got fired, especially because you're best friends with the best friend of the racist dude. But Sean is the type of white dude who like to say nigga all the time. So he's definitely one of them. And James, I'm like, bro, like, and he lied about it for a while. I asked him and he lied about it. I'm like, what? Dude, I just got fired and now I'm trying to start a business venture and you're gonna take that after I've been teaching this dude about stocks for months. He's been coming to my house. He's been calling me and everything. He watched all my videos. And it was because like he just like graduated from school and like he just got something. Like he just did something. And like I'm like, but the fuck does that have to do with anything with my shit? Like how are you as a black man going to see that I'm going through a life emergency? I have another friend that like I really cared about him and like he's white and one day we're playing we're on PlayStation and I'm playing with some other black friends and shit. And then he called one of them a nigger. A nigger. And that hurt on many different levels. We spoke a couple times. Not about what happened, but and then one time I tried giving him like $30,000. I'm like, bro, like, you know, like he knows how to trade. He taught me how to trade. Like I just I was gonna I was trying to give this guy $30,000. I said I'll write a promissory note, a note you don't owe me anything from it. If you lose it all, uh, like you're gonna you can use it for trading. And I tried giving someone $30,000 and he wouldn't take it. Imagine imagine your friend. Imagine your friend. The friend, your usual friend. And they say, "Yo, I'm about to send you this 30 G's for the thing that you love and you know how to do. And you have been making money off of doing that thing for a while. You went to school for that thing." This is you to your friend. You say, "Hey friend, I'm about to send you this 30 G's for that thing that you do." And they say no. Would you do that? If your friend calls you, they call you, they say, "Yo, I'm about to send you $30,000." So you're hearing them say to you, "I'm about to send you $30,000 for that thing that you're doing. So then you can improve it, make it better and everything, blah blah blah. You know, if you lose it, you don't owe me the money, but pay me back. Like pay me back and shit. It's that type of thing. And if we can sign whatever papers and everything, and it doesn't legally hold you binding or anything. You take the money, you light it on fire. I'm not fucking with you no more, but you're not legally binded to give me that money back. Like that type shit." And he said no. It's the same boy who 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 just called my black friends the ER, the nigger. And then Trump did something. He broke something. In my experience, we don't have any representation. We don't have the union. The unions in the past has failed me. The HR in the past, because they're all white. The one lady was mixed, but she was white. The lady alive. I have a lot to say about live and a lot to say about Rivers. Because the thing about Rivers too is that the poker director at Rivers is Brittany Marini's cousin. So I'm sure that had a lot to do with a lot. But that story is just, that story is bizarre. It sounds fake, but I have emails, text messages for live and for Rivers. And as black folk, we should go where we are celebrated, not tolerated. And I mean, it's hard to say, don't don't take your money to the casinos because the racist leadership. That's what it is. Racist leadership. And people in these jobs, they're making $100,000 a year. They're making $110,000 a year. And I'm not mad at them for not wanting to shake the branch for mentioning me, because they got lives, they got kids. That's a lot of money. Do you know how hard it is to even get a job? Get a job as a black man? What about getting a job as a black man making $110,000 a year? What about that? That's even harder. And when it comes to poker and casino dealing, they can see how much I make. Now, I know how much they make, the 35 an hour, then the other ones, move to 37 and like 42 and everything. And like, okay, like I get all that. But when they look in my box, they can see, because my work ethic, they see the way I speak to people and they respond to me. They see the way when I sit down and I, deal the game, how I take it personal. When I do my job, I make sure that I show up to show out. That's why I wasn't late. I'm just not about being late. Me being fired isn't about my attitude, because my attitude was always good, because I was happy. I was finally able to see me pulling my people out of that survival mode. My family's scattered. I don't want them scattered. Adam Boone, he gets to live his life with his daughters and his wife every day. He's the poker director now. And even back then, he knew my family circumstances. Because that day that Art Blanda told me to get a black eye haircut, apparently he told Adam, or he said it around Adam, and Adam told me to go to HR. It was either for that or the day that I sent the text message. But I'm walking down the hallway and Adam Boone whispers to me, go to HR. He says, go to HR. I'm walking up the hallway, going towards the cafeteria. He's walking back to go back to the casino, go back to the poker floor. And I should have. But even if Adam knows that I'm innocent, he takes none of my phone calls. He answers none of my emails. And he know that I wasn't the problem. So I'm not going to talk about I talked about the Mike guy physically telling me in my face that he was going to blackball my black ass from Maryland to Florida. He said black ass from Maryland to Florida. He was going to blackball me. Apparently, Johnny Grooms have a contact at Maryland Live in Philly, because when I applied to Maryland Live in Philly, got my audition date and everything, went for my audition, did the supervisor audition, and I took that test. And then it was this Asian lady that works at that time. She was doing the test at Philadelphia Live Philly. She said to me, next time, keep personal problems out of work. That's what she told me, and I didn't get that job. So apparently Johnny Grooms, he blackballed, because he moved out of the poker position at Maryland in Oxon Hill, and then he started doing some other stuff. But he still has pull, of course, and that's the thing too. All because you're going doesn't mean that the people that replace you like aren't your boys, unless like it's some outside, thing. But if it's like some other guy, you both worked there for the past 10 years together, and you guys, are friends and everything. He said, yo, don't hire this guy. He's going to easily not hire this guy, which is me. So that Asian lady that auditioned me at Philadelphia Live apparently has some type of ties with Johnny Grooms. That could be his wife. I heard his wife was Asian. And the fucked up thing about that was that I never had any personal problems at work. That text message that I sent to Claude was because people have gotten fired before and after I was fired for the same thing. A spouse, he's a supervisor or something, and he is directing, he's taking care of the table strings. Well, back then it was the Wild Wild West, and the one person that was a supervisor let the person that was a dealer keep dealing the good tables and the good games, to where they would probably get no break throughout the day, or they would get very minimum amount of breaks, but they will always hit the best tables a lot. Okay? So people have been fired from the casino at that point in time before I was fired, and then even after. So the text that I was sending was very relevant. Okay? At that time, hey, please don't give your friend extra tables. But you're going to see the message. There was like a lot more in it. But that was the text message from me to Claude. Now, how Art Blanda, Matt Boyson, Adam Boone, how they handled that afterwards, because they called me on another line with another HR. And this HR, he said, was like somewhere like Allentown or some shit. It was like I didn't know where this HR was even from. So I don't even know if that was even legal. I asked him if I can get a lawyer, if I can get the union, can I get someone else on the line? And they said no. So I had to put this video out because, I'm suffering in silence, and I have to let it go. have to let it go. You see, white people that are racist, they don't care that you have a family. They don't want you to want. It doesn't matter how much they have. They can be here. You can be here. They don't want you here because that puts you closer to them. And that's the importance of knowing the intricacies of racism. It's not just a one-way street. It has the same exit. Now, if racism is when you stop someone from an ethnic base, black, from getting ahead in life, monetary gains, owning stuff, gaining assets, keeping a job, a good job, rather than they would want you to pull your bootstraps up, go work at a gas station, go do what you gotta do, go work at Walmart. Now, there's nothing wrong with those jobs. But when, you see, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to college, So me making a six-figure income was definitely, was going to be an uphill mountain to climb because it's a big income. I think the median income in America is like 68,000 or something like that. I think it's less than 1% of black men in America make over $100,000. And of course, like any other self-respecting black man that has had the opportunity to make a change for his family, to actually, start doing that. And that's immediately what I started to do. I was, I was always, hustling. I was always running. I was always trying to make something happen because it's not easy out there, being black. People look at me and, there's different sides of how you want to meet someone. And, coming from us, I just want you to just be a cool person, a good human being. I'm not looking to eat off your plate. But there's a lot of motherfuckers that will look at you and be like, damn, like, he don't deserve that shit. I'm 40. I've been dealing cards since I was 24. 24 years old. That's how long I've been dealing cards. I'm probably even off a couple years. And then on top of that, it was around the country. And I had my own game, my own establishment for years. one time, I go to this one poker room, and this white dude that works there, he's a supervisor. I heard him telling the other dudes, "Look at this black motherfucker walking around like he owned the place. He just got here." I got stories of me. I got all types of stories. I got all types of crazy stories, whatever kind of story. So many different pop party stories, but when it comes to poker, like I hung out. I'm not gonna name drop like the names or anything, but like I hung out with like a lot of poker pros, and like not like dealing with them, like dealing cards to them like at their game or anything. Like we're like hanging out, like at someone's house. Like I'm enrooted like in like the poker scene, like the poker world. When MGM first opened in Oxon Hill, like I got so much hate because all those poker, like, no, I'm sorry, not all, but some of those poker pros like knew me, like they know me, like we deal, like I have their number, you know, like, and you know, motherfuckers, they just get the job because they're like, yo, this is a really good job. You should come work with me. You should come to my casino. I'll teach you how to deal. And the people that's dealing to you are some of the most racist motherfuckers. And they don't they spit on your face every time you tip them. You know, if you black. And I never experienced anything like that before, man. I never experienced so much hate. You know, the only thing I want to do is just be great. And I know, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, it's not fair and like shit like that, but and then more recently, you know, it's just, I don't know what's happening to like my world. It just feels as though I'm just, it feels like sometimes I'm just like in like a big balloon, and it's just like filling up with water. So some time ago, me and my peoples, we were working. We were working for this dude who does like clean outs. You know, we go and you know, we do like different clean outs and shit. You know, clean out people's house, and um, you know, maybe get to like demo work and everything. And my peoples worked with this dude that he knew for like, we both knew him for like damn near 15, 20 years. White guy. He met this dude, right? He hired this dude through this random ass lady that he met like on his job, right? And it was like, hey, this guy, he just got out of jail. He needs work. You know, can you do something for him? He said, yeah, sure. You know, give him a call. You know, and he kept that guy working over my people's. I'm not even worrying about me. But over my peoples, and it's like, you don't even know this guy. Like, where's the loyalty? And it's not like we were looking, for loyalty from that guy. But what people don't do, man, just call a spade, man. Because dude knows he's wrong. He knew he was wrong for what he did. Because my people even, said something to him a couple times. Like, yo, like, what's up with this? And then he got mad. He got defensive. He got real defensive. And it's like, why are you getting so mad and defensive over like such a simple question? And now that I'm thinking about it, that's that white tears shit. Somebody white do something racist as fuck, and then the first thing they start doing is crying and saying how much of a bad person that they're not. I never made a mistake. I never stubbed my toe and say, oh, nigger. But white people, they do shit like all the time, and it's like, yo, like, do you get off by saying that word? I think they get off for saying nigga. Like, they have to. That's their freedom. But like, they gotta say the word. And James, that's why I couldn't, because James, the white boy, love saying nigga with James. It's like the more black people around, the more he want to say it. And like we hung out a couple of times and shit, but it's like, yo, like, nah, you shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be saying that. If you got anything to say, man, let me know. I don't run from nothing. But to my family, that's why I've just been like so like distant and shit. And I'm not even mentioning family stuff. I'm not even mentioning all the other personal stuff that goes along with not having your career, being blackballed out of your career. I said before, this was probably the hardest 5 years of my life. Out of that 5 years, we lost about 15 family members. And can you imagine being in the prime of your life and not being able to show the people that raised you what you're able to be in life? And that hurts. That hurts. You make plans, you make promises. I have tried to make this video for probably the past year. And this is nowhere near perfect or thorough the way I want it to be. But I absolutely do want to get across that I am sorry for being absent. More than half my life is gone. And now we're living in a time with a racist tyrant filled with racists. They're going to say DEI. DEI means nigga. Woke means nigga. I also want to mention that racism is when they fire you and take your job. And that is what they did. They quit. They fired me. And they quit so then they can return to deal, because that's like a demotion. But in reality, it's more money for them. Even if it's part-time, a part-time dealer makes more money than a full-time supervisor. Through the help of GITCA. A GITCA is a really, really extremely good tax break. I recommend, if I tried getting my cousins into dealing poker, because you don't have to go to school for long, and school, you just have to learn how to deal. You can make a lot of money for it. You don't have to be married to the time. I have helped a lot of people become poker dealers. I have taught a lot of people dealing poker currently. When I was working at MGM, there was this dealer, Josh. I tried getting the teaching job at the local community college to teach people how to, deal poker. They wouldn't give it to me. I applied and I asked. They wouldn't give it to me. They gave it to Josh. Now, I opened that casino. Josh came in like 2 or 3 years after, and he was only there for like a year or something. But I wanted to be a part of the community, so I did community service. I did a couple charity events. I did one event at work. I did all the events at work. I did a couple events out of work. whenever I would go and visit Philly, I would always come back with like a Philly treat. You know, I brought back cheesesteaks one time, Philly pretzels. Those are usually like the two items I would usually bring back, you know, for everybody, like to try and everything. I just want to close this chapter so I can. Mike Brawley, he left the casino on and off for about 5 or 6 times. He was able to leave and come back 5 or 6 times. There's people that post that they're suspended on Facebook and social media, but they don't worry about it because they'll be right back. People post stuff like that because they can, because they're white. If you are offended by this video, it's because you're a racist. If you're offended by this video, it's because you're a racist. You're a bigot. Or you just confused. I want to say that Lisa, she spread rumors about me. And Jennifer. And I thought Jennifer was cool. And Jennifer spread lies too. If I'm missing anything about this MGM situation, I still have 2 separate videos that I'm going to do about my experience at, it was live, then Rivers, and then live, and then those 2. I'm going to make sure I get some other names and everything. The emails and the text, like all that stuff is already set up and everything. But I'm going to make sure that I'm going to show how evil these people are, how fucked up these motherfuckers are. How they don't care about your black ass. They care about your money. They want your money. You see, because there were times I tried talking to Mike, Adam, about 5 or 6 times. I went up to the casino to talk to him. He wouldn't talk to me. Why? I didn't do anything. I didn't fight anyone. I didn't harass anyone. I didn't show up at anyone's doorstep. I didn't do anything criminally in or outside the casino. You see, they did a corporate lynching. That's exactly what this is, and that's exactly what it was. It was a corporate lynching. They killed the king. Because after I got fired, they fired a couple more people on some fucked up ways. If I left anything out, I will I'll add it into the other videos and everything. But I just want to get this all out. I'm already blackballed, so it doesn't matter.